the question to you is, uh, there is a clear answer when somebody has a shop in the US and they want to start something in India. Let's say Sanjeev has a flourishing business in the Bay Area and he has a big office in Coimbatore in India. For obvious reasons, he has an office in India. Why should somebody who has a business running in India should have an office in the US? What are the reasons that he should set up an office in the US? What are the advantages of setting up an office in the US?
So one of the main advantages of setting up an office in the US is credibility. Psychologically, when an American company or anyone in the US is dealing with you and they know that there is a US entity in place, it makes them feel there is some kind of accountability. The other part of it also is that if you're investing in anything in the US, or if you're marketing anything in the US, or you want to hire people in the US, and I don't necessarily recommend hiring as an employee unless you need to, but even with independent contractors or any other type of third-party vendors, it's much easier to do it from a US-based company. Having said that, you don't have to be in the US to do that. You can control and manage the company sitting in India. But psychologically and administratively, and especially for certain types of ventures where maybe you're buying real estate or you're investing in a franchise or you're just promoting your brand, it does make a big difference if you're physically, and I don't mean physically as a person, I mean where the business is formed in the US.
Excellent, excellent. Credibility and peace of mind for people who have offices in the US. Megha, a follow-up question on that. A lot of people in India are thinking of going to the US because of the dollars there, because there are a lot of investors there, because a lot of money, people are getting huge $1 trillion packages announced by your president. There's so much money, they don't know what to do with it. At the same time, there is also a community which is of course not able to get their share. One of the articles I read was every day in the US, 2,000 people make it to the millionaire list. Every day you have 2,000 people making it to the millionaire list in the US. So should somebody come to the US because there are so many millionaires and because there's so much money, they can get the funding for the venture in the US? If they're not able to get the same funding if they're not going to get the funding in India, should they be looking at the US for funding?
So I have a different perspective on the premise. I don't believe that you chase money. Money follows you depending on what you have to offer. So if it is a good concept, if it's a great idea, if you're filling a void, as Sanjeev mentioned or Snail mentioned, if you are finding something that you can contribute or offer into the US market, the money will be there. It's really, for every story you hear about people making millions in the US, the unemployment rate is extremely high right now in the US because of COVID and other factors. So it's really just what you have to offer. But I do believe, honestly, that if you offer what really excites you and what you really think you can excel in because it excites you, people sense it and then the investors back it. If you try and fit into a square or a mold or imitate or mimic what somebody else is doing, people see that and they see through that too, and the money doesn't follow that.
Got it. Great. Excellent piece of advice, Megha.